Welcome to Westwood Capital, LTV, episode 6. I'm sat with Marcus Foster, and we're going to go through his role that he plays within Westwood today. Marcus, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having
me. Do you want to give us, the viewers, especially our brokers and introducers, a bit of a rundown for those who haven't met you about what you do here at Westwood, how you help the key roles that you play within?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So yes, I am one of 2 relationship managers at Westwood Capital. So what that means is we're dealing with our introducers, we're dealing with our valuers, our legal partners to make loans happen effectively. So right the way from getting an initial inquiry, whether that be on the telephone, I've got a deal, there's a property and here's the background, or it could be via email through the contact at page,
absolutely.
Contact us page on the website.
So you work very closely with myself, so the deals come in either directly to me or directly to you. You and I will then structure a deal, work through that deal, and work with the broker, or maybe sometimes the client direct, but generally with a broker or an intermediary to structure a deal that works for the client. And that's the initial stage. And then the first thing that you do is then send out the terms.
Yes. Yeah, and just taking a slight step back, when we get that initial inquiry, the main conversation me and Gareth are having is, what is the asset, what is or who is the applicant, and what's their experience, and what is the exit of the loan? How are they ultimately going to repay the money that they're borrowing? So they're the 3 main areas that me and Gareth will assess. Do they fit our criteria? It varies for each different type of asset, whether it be commercial or residential property, and then once we've got an understanding of that, we then structure the loan however we need to and put terms out to the broker so they can in turn give those to the client.
Absolutely. And then through that phase, you support me, the broker, the client, gathering all that information, collecting it all in. So these are our preliminary conditions essentially, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're all collected in. Once we've collected them in, you sit with myself and Darren, and we underwrite that deal. And that can be as quickly as possible. So some brokers hit us with the information all in one go, which allows us to give a credit-backed offer straight away. Some brokers want the terms and then want to collect the information from the client. The client might be sending that directly to us, or it might come piecemeal. And then we can sit down. So there is no credit committee. There's no specific time. We just gather everything in, and then we give a credit-backed offer.
That's it.
So the first set of terms that go out, then there's a credit-backed offer. So at that point, you're then instructing our legal partners.
Yes, yeah. So as quickly as the broker can get everything to us, we'll, like you say, sit down and review it and sanction it. And then once we're at that point, it's instructing lawyers, and it is very much then, as quick as their lawyers can move, our lawyers can move just as quick. So
absolutely.
So it really is a race between the lawyers to get everything together to pay out. But generally, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks at the moment as a rough time for completion from initial inquiry right through to payout.
I think that's key. You and I were at a conference the other day, and some of the banks were quoting 66 days, but their 66 days didn't start until the deal went into legals. I think we're on an average of 3 to 4 weeks at the minute, and this is obviously as of September 24. That has extended a little bit to where it probably was maybe a year or so ago. And that's partially down to client. I wouldn't say it's ever our solicitors, but 3 to 4 weeks we are expecting. That's from introduction all the way through to full payout, really. And that is sometimes quicker if the buyer, the broker and the client are motivated. But we've quoted an average there.
Absolutely.
Okay. You're also dealing with our valuers?
Yes.
On a daily basis?
So we use Vast Panel, which we go out to on every case to get a range of quotes for the client, just to give them a bit of choice. And we also use Pantera Property, which are based up in Harrogate, but give us national coverage. So we generally get 3 to 4 quotes for the client. So they've got a range of quotes. They know that they've got options.
Absolutely, and you picked up there on Pantera Property probably our preferred valuers, which we do quite a lot with. 60-70% of our work goes through those guys. predominantly because they're well priced,
Yep.
and they're also quick to respond. So we're getting very quick responses. We're getting a quote within a matter of minutes, hours sometimes,
yes.
and they can give us a date they can get there, which is generally within a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of your role: collecting information, structuring deals, dealing with everybody, assessing timelines, giving timelines. I think one of the other things that is key to sort of get over to our partners, whether they be brokers, intermediaries, etc., is that one of the biggest things is we don't follow a standard process.
No.
So it's not we get a deal in, we put terms out, we collect information, we then sanction it, it then goes into legals, it's valued in between all of that, blah, 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 all the way through to payout.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do whatever is needed.
Yeah.
So we can, if we collect all the correct information up front, before we pay, before we're issuing terms, you can have a credit back set of terms if we have all the correct information.
Yeah, subject to valuation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Unlike some of our competitors who are a lot larger, who have moving parts, who maybe have numerous different funding lines, Darren and myself will underwrite a deal very, very quickly. So, we all share an office, and even if we're not in the office, we can hit a Zoom very quickly, hit a call, make that decision quite quickly, and support. So you are getting everything in a timely fashion. Yeah. We may then go straight from terms, information, putting the deal straight into legals.
Yep.
Without having the valuation back if the client's happy.
Yes.
You use the valuation acceptance tool, which is basically a letter saying that, if the client's looking for speed, and speed is very necessary, that one of the things that we will do is progress it straight away, but they understand if a valuation comes back undervalued, that, they understand that and that they take that. So I think the key in what we're talking about there is the process, really.
Yeah. And speed is our game, isn't it? We're quick money, so yeah. There's certainly an expectation in the marketplace for speed, and we really alter our process to accommodate that, don't we, where we can.
Absolutely. You deal with a number of brokers direct.
I do.
They come directly into you, and they've dealt with you for a number of years. You've worked for a master broker in the past.
Yes.
Which is where you then obviously joined ourselves. So that's something that they can come to me, they can come to you within the process. We'll always talk about a deal, always structure that deal, always put it together, and then try and get everything out there.
Yeah, and the key is, coming through me as a relationship manager, we're all still in the office together. So coming to me doesn't mean that they're not necessarily also speaking to you guys, because everything that we get internally, I'll review it. If it's something that sits slightly outside of our criteria, maybe the asset's not the best, but the applicant's extremely good and the exit's nailed on, I'll go, guys, can we all jump around the table and have a chat about this case? So, I can rely on the feedback I'm getting from you two as the decision makers, that actually we can do what we're saying and going out to market with.
Yep.
So from a broker's perspective, coming direct to me, it doesn't really make much of a difference to coming to you.
Absolutely.
We all talk together, don't we?
Correct, absolutely. One of the other things that you do within your role is you write up the credit papers.
Yes.
So that is very much left down to you to gather all that information and understand that business. So the key understanding is of that business, how it operates, how it runs, the individuals behind that business, their CVs, the money that they're asking for, how we're going to get repaid, the exit strategy, etc., is very key that you understand that. So we ask for numerous pieces of information, whether that be verbally and you're taking notes, whether we get something directly from the client, wherever that might come from, but that comes directly into you, and you're populating a credit paper that then is sanctioned.
Yeah.
So when we're asking these questions, or when you're asking these questions of whether it be the client directly or the broker, it really is key that you understand this, because you then have to sit down with us and explain,
100%.
Essentially put into words and explain that this is the credit paper, this is why they're borrowing money, this is how we're going to get repaid, this is the applicant's experience for whatever it is. It could be a refurb, it could be a purchase of a buy-to-let, and that they can fulfill that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you put it like that, it almost gives the appearance that we ask for lots and lots, which in some cases we do to assess, the exit. We'll ask questions to understand it, but really all we're asking for is, a credit file for the applicants, just to see, that they are paying the home mortgage, bank statements for the business, just to have a look at how it's operating, accounts for the business, an application form and an alley. That's
generally
pretty much all we ask.
Yeah, it is.
And from that, it's then a 5-minute conversation with the broker to get all the missing bits. So yeah, the credit papers that I populate really do inform the information that we ask, but I don't think it's onerous at all in terms of what we do ask for.
I think the way that we set the business up, and employee number one, we decided to overhaul a little bit of the way that we were doing things only after maybe a couple of weeks, in the fact that the information that we need is only necessary to underwrite that deal. And sometimes that will change. So if we have a retained deal, we don't necessarily have to understand the affordability of how the client's going to pay that on a monthly basis, because the income is retained within that deal. Whereas we may need some further information. How is he going to service this? Oh, well, he's got a buy-to-let portfolio with a runoff of this, and therefore he can afford to service a loan. That's fine. We're not doing a deep dive into the guy's financial information, and everything else if they can prove it. So it's all about, we only ask for what we need. Once we've got what we need, there may be some further questions that we ask, but generally that's satisfied, and that can then be presented to us all when we sit down in our little credit meeting, as I say, which can be any time of day or any day of the week to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a little bit more about Marcus's role and what he does within Westwood Capital. You'll often see Marcus out and about when he's on networking events or spending time with people within the industry. A lot of people like to measure their height against Marcus, because he is, you're not the largest chap in the world, are you, Marcus?
No, I'm not. It's a fact.
And we've had nicknames on email such as Stuart Little, Titch.
Titch is a personal favourite of mine.
Yeah, and a number of them love getting back to back with him and measuring up about how much larger they are than him. So
not in that way.
Marcus, tell us a little bit more in your personal life, what you like to do in your off time away from work.
Well, what a great introduction. Thank you, Gareth. So yeah, I'm 28. I live in Doncaster. I like spending my time, my downtime that is, socialising with friends. I've got 2 little dogs, so plenty of walks to keep me entertained. Like a good crime drama as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm quite boring, really.
Yeah, no, excellent stuff. Okay, well, look, thanks for joining us today, Marcus, and hopefully for the introducers and intermediaries and suppliers and everybody that Marcus talks to that he hasn't managed to get to meet yet, that gives you a little bit more of a steer into Marcus Foster.